Hello everyone, so a few days ago, the American Psychiatric Association released their 5th edition of their Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. As far as I can tell, at some point in it, they referred to paedophilia as a sexual orientation. Surprisingly, but also kind of not surprisingly, this sent the right-wing blogosphere into a veritable orgy of masturbatory mouth foaming. People saying, "Aha! We said this day would come, and it's finally here. We said that if society carries on in the same way it has been, eventually the liberal elites and the liberal academics are going to end up classifying paedophilia as a sexual orientation, in much the same way that they did with homosexuality. Hate to say I told you so, America." A good example of this came from known homophobe, particularly outspoken representative of the Liberty Council and all-around fuckface, Matt Barber. On the 29th of October, he tweeted the following: "It's finally happened. The APA has classified paedophilia a sexual orientation. Add a P to LGBT." The thing is, Matt, a few days later, the American Psychiatric Association sent out a news release entitled APA Statement on DSM Text Error. It contained the following paragraph: "Sexual orientation is not a term used in the diagnostic criteria for paedophilic disorder, and its use in the DSM-5 text discussion is an error and should read sexual interest. In fact, the APA considers paedophilic disorder a paraphilia, not a sexual orientation. This error will be corrected in the electronic version of DSM-5 and the next printing of the manual." So because of a typo, the American religious right online felt vindicated in their belief that because at some point in the past homosexuality had been declassified as a mental disorder and reclassified as a sexual orientation, the same thing would happen to paedophilia. Why is this? Why did they think that this would happen? Well, it gives you a really good insight into the mindset of people like Matt Barber. From his perspective, there is only one true, real, moral way to be sexual, i.e., heterosexual. Because of this, the very term sexual orientation for them implies tacit complicity with the idea that there are alternative forms of sexuality. Because if there was just one way to be legitimately sexual, we wouldn't need a term like sexual orientation. The existence of the term implies that there is more than one, in much the same way that we don't have a term that refers to the variance in the colour of teeth among different groups of people. Because among people who do actually take care of their teeth, everyone's teeth are largely the same colour. And by the same principle, from the perspective of people like Matt Barber, the very term sexual orientation was just made up by liberal academics in order to push an agenda, as an attempt to legitimise and normalise alternative and, from their perspective, deviant sexual identities. And so because of all that, they feel perfectly justified in attaching a P for paedophilia onto the end of LGBT. As far as they're concerned, because there is only one legitimate moral way to be sexual, putting paedophilia in the same category as being gay is perfectly justified and makes perfect sense, despite the fact that one is two consenting adults and one is an adult fucking a kid. You can see how their brains are twisting this almost conspiratorial narrative to suit their own ideas and views. I mean, even if paedophilia was a sexual orientation, that would say nothing about its morality. Heterosexuality is moral because it's two consenting adults. Homosexuality is moral because it's two consenting adults. Paedophilia is not moral because, as I said, it's an adult fucking a kid. And remember, all of this happened because of a typo. That is how quick the religious right is to pounce on any scrap of information that they think confirms their conspiratorial worldview. So, in conclusion, the religious right online goes bastarding apeshit and feels vindicated in its quasi-conspiratorial worldview because the American Psychiatric Association made a typo. The American Psychiatric Association makes a text error, and the religious right online shows their ass. Religious right-wingers, you cray! Stop it! Fuck!